Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Darren Crawley. I am the Channel Account Manager for Cloud for Partners. I'd like to welcome you to today's partner webinar, which is hosted by Cloud for Partners. And today's webinar is also featuring one of our partners who are guesting on today's session, Netalogue PLC. And in a moment, I will introduce you to my colleague, Ben Taylor, who will run through in a little bit more detail about who Netalogue are, what is key in terms of their proposition from a B2B e-commerce perspective, and also we'll give you a high-level overview of the product portfolio as well. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we progress any further. There will be the opportunity to ask questions throughout the webinar. All delegates are currently on mute, but there is a chat box or chat function on your GoToWebinar interface. So feel free to pitch any questions that you may have throughout the webinar. And what we'll do at the end of the session is we'll have a brief 5 to 10 minute Q&A session where I can relay your questions to Ben, and we'll go through any further details. So if you just bear with me, we'll commence the presentation and demo now. So the agenda for today, just to run through very briefly, is that we'll look at the evolving B2B e-commerce landscape, and also look at the key differences between B2B and B2C. We'll also evaluate some of the factors that drive growth in the B2B e-commerce marketplace, look at the solution from a high-level perspective, looking at the overview there of the solutions, why Netalogue would actually be the partner of choice in this instance, as well as looking at high-level functions, features, and the demo itself. We'll also give you some insight into what customers of Netalogue are actually saying when they're actually deploying their solutions on the ground, and also give you more of an insight into how both Netalogue and Cloud for Partners can actually enable your customers to take advantage of this technology in the cloud. We'll give you a little bit more insight into how it all works, as well as providing a summary, and as I mentioned, a brief Q&A. So what I'd like to do now is I will hand over the presentation rights to my colleague, Ben. And in a very brief moment, you should be able to see Ben's screen. Thank you very much, Ben.
Thank you very much, Darren. Just gonna put this down. Excellent. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all well. Just gonna try and clear up my screen a little bit for you here so you can see what I'm talking about. And then definitely don't want to be leaving. Excellent. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're well. Thanks for the introduction, Darren. As Darren mentioned, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a business development manager for Netalogue. I'm going to be taking you through today a couple of areas, as Darren mentioned, so you can understand how ourselves and Cloud for Partners are working together to deliver B2B commerce in the cloud for yourselves and your potential customers. We'll quickly cover, as Darren mentioned, a bit about B2B commerce, just to get the terms of reference aligned, B2B versus B2C e-commerce, obviously quite important. We'll touch on the B2B e-commerce solutions that are available and where Netalogue fits in within our competitor set. We'll touch a little bit about how Cloud for Partners and Netalogue work together to deliver B2B commerce in the cloud, and then we'll move on to the Q&A, as Darren suggested. It should take about 30 minutes, maybe a little quicker, maybe a little slower, but we'll try and keep as close as we can to that schedule. So to start off, B2B e-commerce. there's a B2B revolution going on at the moment. B2B e-commerce is growing really, really fast, but it's important for us, for the purpose of the next 30 minutes, to differentiate between what's B2C e-commerce and B2B e-commerce. When we talk about B2C e-commerce, traditionally, we're looking at a single catalog of products presented through an online store, generally at a single price, with a fairly simplified or simple set of delivery, checkout mechanics. There's probably some promotions in there. Generally, B2C has a good varied range of promotional mechanics. It's generally quite content-led, so there's a fair bit of marketing on there, a good level of product information, and a real focus on mobile. B2B e-commerce differs in some of these areas, but the best instances of B2B e-commerce solutions will pull through the best of B2C commerce and merge the two. So B2B will traditionally have multiple catalogs, which will be customer specific, and so your sophisticated enterprise customers will generally house these in their ERP, but good B2B e-commerce solutions will pull these through and present them to the customer at the point of order. There'll be varied pricing, so customer specific pricing, whether this be percentage off base, whether it be discount at product level, whether it be, again, a combination of that and a varied range of promotions that our B2B e-commerce customers are really looking to leverage to drive B2B e-commerce. So there are some key differences, and it's important that we understand those as we go through the next few slides, because it's occasionally customers and some ERP resellers will get confused between the two. We look at B2B e-commerce and why it's growing so quickly. E-commerce is absolutely everywhere. It's growing really fast, and we know that, and that's predominantly driven by the B2C. That growth is definitely coming through and facilitating itself in the B2B world. And why is this? Trade customers expect it. There's a generation of millennials who have been born with a phone in their hand, who are moving into procurement roles, and they want e-commerce options to place orders in their trade lives, in their professional lives, not just in their personal lives. We are flabbergasted by the amount of people who are still taking orders, in some cases by fax, and then having their teams print out those faxes, or take those faxes, print them out, and then manually put them into their ERPs to facilitate that order. And it's not sustainable, and it's incredibly inefficient. The B2B transaction, as we touched on previously, is a lot more complex than the B2C transaction. You have multiple customers, customer-specific pricing, customer-specific catalogs, customer-specific delivery details and scenarios that the simple B2B platforms can't necessarily handle. We also see that in the B2B e-commerce world, when a customer has got their solution installed, lines per order will increase, average order value goes up, order frequency goes up, because their customers are shopping. They're not just placing orders, they're not just transacting anymore. So the trade absolutely loves it. It also loves it because it enables them to present self-service across multiple business functions to their customers. So where customers are looking for, or our customers, we're looking to create more efficiency in their business by getting customers to pull down their own invoices, pay invoices online, rather than having to call into customer care teams, who then will transfer them to accounts payable teams, who will then have to print off or email an invoice across. The tools are out there to allow customers to do this themselves. So there's inefficiency as well as additional sales to be captured on the B2B world, and this is why we're seeing massive growth. It's not one size fits all, so you don't just have customers who fit in a B2C box or B2B box. They'll generally fit somewhere in a sliding scale between the two. At the bottom end, you've got simple browsing and checkouts. At the top end, you've got pure EDI and punch-out ordering, which is where the catalog is presented via a third-party procurement tool, and we can facilitate that. Often customers will have a blend of EDI, punch-out, and e-commerce, and e-commerce facilitates multiple accounts on their side, multiple budgets and cost centers, customer-specific catalogs, and quick order pads that really speed up that B2B transaction, which we know is a real key metric for B2B customers in the trade. A challenge that we face is, or a question that we get asked by ERP resellers, much like yourselves, is I sell ERP. Why is this relevant to me? And it's relevant because there's a huge increase in the demand for ERP resellers like yourselves to provide integrated B2B e-commerce as part of installs or upgrades. And this is because we've got a second generation of B2B customers who have gone in with cheaper solutions, have been badly burnt because the relationship hasn't been there between the e-commerce platform and their ERP, which when they haven't been able to unlock the benefits of either ERP or B2B platform. So they've got a generation of people coming through now really demanding that their integration's there from the outset. The integration only approach that we find some ERP resellers are adopting introduces risk, definitely introduces unknowns, and addition that then leads to additional cost and extended timelines for projects which we know that your customers are less tolerant of now. Your competitors will be partnering in this area. They're developing their own B2B solutions. You may be doing that yourselves and hitting some challenges. Or they'll be partnering with other solutions to make sure that they're addressing the 2 points we've covered above. The relationship between ERP and the B2B e-commerce platform, because of the complexity of the transaction, is incredibly intimate. There's not many solutions that are such a window into that ERP and allow them to interact with the various tables and areas of the ERP that you'd want a customer to be able to interact with. So having a trusted integration there that everyone understands and knows delivers massive value in terms of ways of working, implementation, customer satisfaction, the cost of sale, and that the important metric of ultimately project value. Moving on to the various solutions that are out there. So there's different options depending on who the customer is and what they're looking for. So we've got the B2B options down the bottom left-hand side, B2C options, sorry. Those the sort of free web solutions where a customer can manually upload a catalog, manually upload a price list, and become web capable, have an e-commerce solution off the bat. They work really nicely for small carts and if you are pure B2C, but then as you move into more complex requirements, web agencies then to take over. Then into platforms like Magento and Sana, where there is B2B features there, but they can be expensive to customize, timely to develop. And we find that we pick up a lot of business from Magento or Sana customers who have simply outgrown their solutions or have really struggled to get to the functionality they need. You've then got Hybris at the top end, where we know that they're incredibly expensive. Great for some customers if they can afford them, but many customers can't, and they take a long time to implement. And we sort of sit underneath Hybris in terms of functionality, but massively below them in terms of cost. And all of our functionality is in-house. So where Magento, you'll be looking at going and picking up functionality from open source sites and trying to integrate it in. We do ours in-house, so it's far quicker. We're pure B2B. We've been born from B2B, so we're not a B2C platform that's trying to masquerade as B2B. We're always been a B2B platform, and we're very proud of that fact. Huge number of orders and the value of orders passing through every day to give our enterprise customers confidence and yourselves that if you've got a B2C e-commerce opportunity, then it's more than likely we can handle it. Our feature list is extensive and it's growing. So I won't go into all of these, quite a lot of information in there, but we can handle things like quotations through the site, punch out, very, very important one. We've touched on that previously, but yeah, the presentation of catalogs and pricing through third-party procurement sites. Often we find those in government-run functions. Product compatibility, making sure the customers can utilize their own codes if they need to, authorization controls, order tracking end-to-end, significant sophisticated promotions, cost centers, the ability for customers to post cost center details against particular orders or order lines. So varied and vast functionality set, something we're very proud of and we're constantly evolving. So I'll run you through a quick demo so you can see the site. We'll just place a simple order, but it'll give you an idea of our site and how it works. So generally B2B, the main difference is that the customers will lock their sites down. They only really want customers buying or customers trading through them. They have the account set up on the ERP, but equally, if they want to enable customers to create accounts online, this can be facilitated. It can obviously all be branded in line with the customer branding. This is a nice B2B feature we've got, where if you haven't checked out an order, you've got some items in your basket, you can discard, save, or continue. So this is one of the landing pages. There's a couple of options with regards to landing pages. Generally, we'll find B2B customers in terms of the procurement, on the procurement side, will want to place an order really quickly and easily. So this is often the landing page style they'll look to adopt. We've got banners for advertising at the top, certain messages want to be gotten across, with a dashboard of tools that they can get to really quickly and easily to place the order and take action on their account. Like I said on the first or second slide, the best B2C site, best of B2B sites are taking a lead from B2B in terms of customer experience. And another flavor of landing page that Netalogue can deliver is the sort of a content-driven page, and it's all responsive. It works across multiple devices depending on how the customer wants to trade and how their business is set up and their customer type. But for the moment, we'll go back to the welcome back page, and we'll just quickly bounce through this. So often customers will hold details on account managers within their ERP. We'll take this from the ERP depending on the integration. It can obviously be logged in manually through the admin area and presented. It's definitely a challenge that customers face as they're trying to bring customers across to e-commerce. Is the loss of personal contact, which we want to try and keep there when we bring them in. They can approve their orders if they're an authorizer here, or reject orders or amend orders. They can place orders by product code or upload orders from Excel or CSV if that's easier for them. Lots of useful tools which are configurable by customer, by user. We'll go into my account really quickly and show you the sort of things that can be brought into there. Saved order pads, and this is where customers will create lists, or lists will be created dynamically from the order history that sits within the ERP, or the order history that's come from the web store direct, or it can be posted down to them from a head office procurement person, should we want to do that. The order history, account details detailing next dispatch date, last order placed, and news which is configurable by the marketing teams within the customer's account. So if we quickly jump onto an order pad, we can see the information that's coming through from the ERP, stock levels, pricing, promotions are there. And one of the varied range of promotions we've got is a simple money off promotion, but really quickly and easy, just to bounce through this list, add the quantities that they want, and pop them into the basket, and take you through to your basket. We can also just quickly touch on the navigation, very, very important. We use a mega nav, which is similar to what John Lewis used. So if customers, or depending on how the product hierarchy looks in the ERP, this is dynamically driven by the feed that we're taking on a daily basis, or whether it be live. So really easy for the customer to find the category, subcategory they're looking for, bounce through, filter dynamically on an attribute that they're looking at, and it presents a range of products which can then be compared, added to basket, or if they need more detail, they can check out the quick view, which gives a little bit of information. Or we know that certainly B2B trade products have a varying range of information, but often there's lots and lots of detail that the customer wants to present to the people buying their product online, and this allows them to do that. Various images of which you can zoom into. We can put PDFs, product specs, video can go on there. There's various tabs that they can present certain information, reviews, accessories driven from the B2B world, add-on products, all the things you'd want to see, and you do see in the best B2B examples available to the B2B customer, which is quite unusual. Live chat, things like that. So add that to our basket. We've got a quick drop down in the basket where they can amend with the quantities. They've got their account details there. go out and checkouts, they can split the order, and this is where they'll post to multiple cost centers. Select delivery options, and all the delivery options that the ERP can handle can be presented at this point. Purchase order reference can be a mandatory item which can be generated by the system or the ERP. Promo codes, they can save the basket as an order pad, create a kit, so a group of products have to be purchased together, create scheduled orders, export baskets, create quotes, all the things that we've spoken about. We can check that order out. If the customer has access to multiple delivery points driven by the ERP, then that can be presented at this stage. Any savings that they've generated from promotions are all there. So really highlighting the value that the e-commerce shopping experience can deliver for B2B customers. So if we jump from there into my account area, you can quickly see all the different varied options that can be pulled in, quotations, they can pay their invoices from this area, and that's direct interrelationship with the ERP again. So lots of stuff you can do. Let's say I won't go through it too much because I'm running out of time. But hopefully that gives you a good overview of the Netalogue solution and sort of where we fit and how we do what we do. So our customers, we've got a varied range of customers across very different industries. We do a lot of food and drink manufacturers, pharmaceuticals, apparel, technology, lots of different customers that we work with. And more often than not, they'll act as a reference for us. Incredibly happy with the pace in which we implement and how it all goes in. In terms of how it works and our relationship with Cloud4 partners, we work very closely together with them to install the solution in the cloud, whether it be the same cloud or a different cloud, depending on what the customer's requirements are. But from a customer's perspective, the front end, the user interface is presented outside in wherever they want it to be, and the relationship between SAP Business One and Netalogue databases and app files all happens seamlessly based on what the customer requirements are, obviously off-premise in the cloud. The integration that we were going to build or we're building with Cloud4 partners gives us the ability to unlock all the things that customers will be buying SAP Business One on the basis of, the efficiencies that it can deliver, making sure we have all the bases covered. The 3 S's are very important in terms of implementation, that the model is software as a service, so it's monthly charging, but bite size, and the speed of implementation is there and incredibly key, as is security, and they're the focus for us in terms of getting this away. So that's it. And in summary, B2B and B2C, 2 very, very different types of B2B of e-commerce with different requirements. The B2B revolution is happening. Customers are, if they're not already doing it, they're going to be looking to do it, and they may already be doing it and looking to upgrade because of the efficiency it can bring and the additional sales and revenue it can generate for them as a business. A B2B solution is integrated and it's multifunctional. And does all the things a customer wants to do now and in the future, and is going to grow with them. And that's why Netalogue's a market leader in this field, because we can address the requirements now and we can grow with our customers, either with established functionality or developments that we put in for them. And on the implementation side, we've got the 3 S's. So we're offering B2B e-commerce as a SaaS solution, very, very quickly implemented and incredibly secure. And that's it. Thank you very much. Darren, back to you.
Thank you, Ben. That was very comprehensive. I've not received any requests for questions from the delegates so far, so I think you've done a very good job there. So just to reiterate, there were some contact details there on the screen for Ben if you do want to approach him after the webinar. Just to remind you as well, there is also a recording of the webinar that will be made available shortly after we finish today. But I will just ask one more time if there are any questions, if you could type something into the chat box, or if you just want to notify me, and I will enable the mute function to be disabled so you can ask Ben a question on a one-to-one basis. Okay, so no questions still there, Ben, so well done. A very comprehensive overview, presentation and demo wise. What I'll do now is if I take control of the presentation, I'd just like to remind everybody that we are running a regular monthly webinar. The time and the day are fairly well fixed now. So basically we have the final Wednesday of each month at midday. We actually have the Wednesday partner webinar. And what we will do as a result of feedback from both partners and also their customers is we'll basically run a very varied and comprehensive overview of what would be deemed best of breed in the marketplace for Business One add-ons and application areas. So if there are any further questions relating to what is due to come online, we will be posting information both on the Cloud for Partners website, which is www.mycloudforpartners.com. We also have a dedicated Cloud for Partners LinkedIn page, as well as a Cloud for Partners Twitter page. So if you want to subscribe to those, we'll give you the latest updates. Alternatively, if there are any questions directly of myself, you're always welcome to give me a call on my mobile number 00447741 642 108, or email me at darrencrawley@mycloudforpartners.com. I'd just like to thank you, Ben, for your participation today. Thank you very much for your time and input. And I'd also like to thank our delegates for attending today's event. Once again, it's Darren Crawley from Cloud for Partners wishing you a great day, and we look forward to you joining our next webinar next month. Thank you.